The space station was alive with movement. Thousands of beings walked through the main market area. They came from different worlds. They spoke different languages. They had different colored skin, different numbers of legs, and different shapes of eyes. But they all had one thing in common. They were all prey. They watched from the shadows above. It hung from the ceiling like a piece of forgotten machinery. Its 6 legs were folded against its long body. Its skin changed color to match the dark metal around it. No one ever looked up. No one ever saw it waiting. It was patient. It had been hunting for 200 years. Its species lived for a very long time, and they spent most of that time doing one thing: killing. It was not personal. It was simply what they were made for. Other species built cities. Other species made art. Other species fell in love. The hunted. Its large eyes moved slowly across the crowd below. Each eye could see heat. Each eye could see movement. Each eye could see fear. And there was so much fear in this place. They could taste it in the air, sweet and warm like fresh blood. A group of small blue creatures walked past. They were called they had soft bodies and large heads. They were merchants. They sold fabric from their home world. They watched them for a moment. Too small, not enough meat. It would need to catch 5 or 6 of them to feel satisfied. Too much work for too little reward. Next came a tall being with 4 arms. It was a strong-looking, but they knew better. They were gentle. They used their strength to lift heavy things, not to fight. They had no natural weapons. No claws, no poison, no sharp teeth. When they attacked, they simply stood there and died. No challenge at all. They shifted its weight slightly. It was getting hungry. It had not eaten in 3 days. That was a long time even for its kind. It needed to find something soon, something good, something that would fill its stomach and satisfy its need to hunt. Then it saw the perfect target. It walked through the market. It was alone. That was unusual. Usually traveled in groups. They were herd animals, safety in numbers, but this one had separated from its group. Maybe it was lost. Maybe it was looking for something. It did not matter why. What mattered was that it was alone. It was about 2 meters tall. It walked on 2 thick legs. Its body was covered in short brown fur. Its head was round with 2 small ears on top and 2 large black eyes in front. It had no weapons, no claws. Its teeth were flat, made for eating plants. It was exactly what they wanted. They began to move, slowly at first. It crawled along the ceiling, staying in the shadows. Its legs made no sound on the metal. Its body flowed like water, smooth and silent. Below, they continued walking. It looked at the different shops. It stopped to smell some fruit. It had no idea that death was following it from above. They felt excitement building in its chest. This was the best part, the moment before the kill, the moment when the prey was still happy and unaware. Soon that would change. Soon they would feel the teeth in its neck. Soon it would understand that the universe was not a safe place, that there were monsters hiding in the dark corners, that life was short and brutal for most creatures. They moved closer. It was directly above the now. It could see the animal's fur moving with each breath. It could hear its heart beating, strong and steady. That would change too. Soon that heart would beat fast with terror. Then it would stop beating forever. They prepared to drop. It tensed its legs. It opened its mouth, revealing 3 rows of black teeth. Each tooth was as long as a finger. Each tooth was sharp enough to cut through bone. They had killed hundreds of creatures with these teeth. There would just be another number. But then something happened. Someone stepped in front of someone small, someone that they had not noticed before. They paused. It looked at this new creature with curiosity. It was a female, short, thin, no fur except for the black hair on top of her head. She wore simple clothes, a gray jacket and dark pants. She carried a small bag over one shoulder. She was talking to asking for directions, it seemed. Her voice was soft and friendly. They studied her. It had seen this species before, but not often. They were rare in this part of space. They came from a small planet far away, a planet called Earth. The creatures were called humans. The searched its memory. What did it know about humans? Not much. They were soft. They had no natural weapons. They were small and weak compared to most species. They should be easy prey, easier than even. The watched the human female. Her name tag said. She was smiling at helping it, being kind. She had no idea that a predator was watching her from above. She had no idea that she had just put herself in danger. The made a decision. It would take the human instead. The could wait. This human was more interesting, and there was something about her that the wanted to understand, something in the way she moved, something in the way she stood, something that made the feel strange. It was a feeling they had not experienced in a very long time. It took a moment to recognize it. It was doubt. The pushed the feeling away. It was nothing, just hunger playing tricks on its mind. The human was prey like everything else. Small, soft, weak prey that would kill her quickly and eat well tonight. It began to move again, closer, closer, ready to drop. But that small feeling of doubt remained, like a tiny voice whispering in the darkness, warning it, telling it to be careful. They ignored the voice. That was a mistake. Finished giving directions to the tall creature thanked her with a low bow and walked away, smiled and waved goodbye. She liked helping people. It made her feel useful on this strange station so far from home. She had been here for 3 months now. She worked as a translator for a small trading company. It was not exciting work, but it paid well, and it let her see parts of the galaxy that most humans would never see. That was worth something. Her communicator buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out and looked at the screen. A message from her. "Where are you? Lunch in 10 minutes, don't be late." Typed back quickly, "Coming, save me a seat." She put the communicator away and started walking toward the food area. The market was crowded today. Some kind of holiday for one of the alien species. She did not know which one. There were too many cultures to keep track of. Every day she learned something new about the galaxy. Every day she realized how small Earth really was. Above her the followed. It moved like a ghost along the ceiling. Its camouflage was perfect. Even if someone looked up, they would see nothing but shadows and metal. They had been doing this for 200 years. It knew how to be invisible. The human walked with confidence. That was the first thing they noticed. Most prey species walked with fear. They looked around constantly. They jumped at small sounds. They stayed close to others for safety. But this human walked like she owned the station. Like she had no enemies in the world, like nothing could hurt her. They found this interesting. Was the human stupid? Did she not understand how dangerous the galaxy was? Or was there something else? Some reason for her confidence that they could not see? It did not matter. Confident or not, she was still made of meat. She would still die when this teeth found her throat. Confidence could not stop a predator. Only strength could do that. And this human had no strength. They was sure of it. Stopped at a small shop. She looked at some jewelry on display. Small shiny stones from different planets. She picked up a bracelet and examined it. The color was beautiful, deep blue like the ocean back on Earth. She thought about buying it. Then she looked at the price and put it back down. Too expensive. Maybe next month when she got paid. They watched all of this from above. It was confused. Why was the human looking at useless shiny objects? They had no purpose. They could not be eaten. They could not be used as weapons. What was the point? They had studied many species over its long life. It had learned their behaviors, their weaknesses, their fears, but it had never understood why so many of them wasted time on things that did not help them survive. Art, music, jewelry, love. These things were meaningless. Only hunting mattered, only killing, only eating. Moved on from the jewelry shop. She walked past a food stand and the smell made her stomach growl. Some kind of grilled meat. It smelled good, but she was meeting for lunch. She would eat soon enough. A small child ran past her. It was chasing a ball. Its mother called after it in a worried voice. Bent down and caught the ball. She handed it back to the child with a smile. The little took it and ran back to its mother. The mother bowed to in thanks. The watched this too, more confusing behavior. The human had helped a creature that was not even her own species. Why? What did she gain from it? Nothing. The child meant nothing to her. The mother meant nothing to her. So why help them? Unless they had a strange thought. What if the human was not being kind for a reason? What if kindness was just part of what she was, like hunting was part of what the was? The thought was disturbing. They pushed it away. Reached the food area. It was a large open space with hundreds of tables. Different food stands lined the walls. Every species could find something to eat here. The smells mixed together into something strange but not unpleasant. She looked around for. He was sitting at a table near the back. He waved when he saw her. She waved back and started walking toward him. Was a few years older than. He had been working on the station for 5 years. He knew everyone. He knew every secret. He knew which shops gave the best prices and which ones tried to cheat you. Was lucky to have him as a friend. "You're late," he said when she sat down. "Only by 2 minutes," she replied. 2 minutes is still late. "Fine, I'm sorry. I was helping someone with directions." Shook his head, but he was smiling. "Always helping people, that's your problem." "How is helping people a problem?" "Because sometimes you help the wrong people. This station isn't safe. There are dangerous creatures here. You need to be more careful." Laughed. "Dangerous creatures, like what?" Leaned closer and lowered his voice. "There are stories, rumors, about something hunting on the station, something that takes people when they're alone, something that no one ever sees." "That sounds like a ghost story," said. "Are you trying to scare me?" "I'm trying to warn you, just be careful, okay? Don't walk alone at night, stay in crowded areas, don't trust strangers." Patted his hand. "I'll be fine, I'm tougher than I look." Above them, hidden in the shadows of the ceiling, they listened to every word. The human male knew about not specifically, but he knew that something was hunting on the station. That meant they had been careless. Too many kills, too many missing people. Someone had noticed a pattern. They would need to be more careful from now on, but first it would finish this hunt. The female human was still its target. She was right there, sitting below, eating her food and laughing with her friend. So close, so vulnerable. But they hesitated. Something the male human had said stuck in its mind. "I'm tougher than I look." The female had said that, not as a threat, just as a simple statement, like it was obviously true, like everyone should know it. They looked at the human again, really looked at her. She was small, thin. No claws, no fangs, no armor, nothing that suggested toughness. And yet she had said those words with complete confidence, like she believed them with all her heart. Was she lying, or did she know something that did not? They decided to wait. It would watch the human more, learn more about her, understand what made her so confident, and then, when it understood, it would kill her. Patience, that was the key. They had plenty of time. It settled deeper into the shadows and watched the two humans eat their lunch. They talked and laughed about things they did not understand. Work, friends, a show they both liked to watch, normal things, boring things. But they kept watching, because somewhere in all that normalness, there was something dangerous, something that its instincts were trying to warn it about, something that made this small, soft human different from all the other prey. They just had to figure out what it was before it was too late. 3 days passed. They continued to watch the human called. It watched her wake up in her small room. It watched her eat breakfast. It watched her walk to work. It watched her sit at her desk and translate documents for hours. It watched her eat lunch with her friend. It watched her help strangers with directions. It watched her smile at children. It watched her walk home at night. It watched her fall asleep. And through all of this watching, they became more confused. The human did nothing dangerous. She had no weapons. She did not practice fighting. She did not exercise or train her body. She spent most of her time sitting, talking, and eating. By all measures, she was one of the weakest creatures on the station. Easy prey, nothing special. But they could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. On the fourth day, something happened that changed everything. Was walking home from work. It was late. The station's lights had dimmed to simulate night. Most shops were closed. The hallways were empty, perfect hunting conditions. The followed her from above. Tonight would be the night. It had waited long enough. It was hungry. It was tired of watching. It was time to kill. But then took a different path. Instead of going straight to her room, she turned down a side hallway. The followed, curious. Where was she going? The hallway led to a small observation deck. A window looked out into space. Stars filled the darkness like tiny lights, a beautiful view. Stood at the window and looked out. She seemed sad. They could see it in the way she held her shoulders, in the way she breathed. Something was bothering her. They did not understand sadness. It was another useless emotion, like kindness, like love. What was the point of feeling bad about things you could not change? She was talking to herself, or maybe to the stars. Her voice was soft, but the ears were sharp. I miss home, she said. I miss the ocean. I miss the sound of waves. I miss the smell of rain. I miss my family. She paused, wiped something from her eye, a tear. But I can't go back, not yet. I have to keep going. I have to be strong. That's what we do. That's what humans do. We keep going no matter what. They listened to these words carefully. They seemed important, but it did not understand them. Keep going where? What did she mean? Took a deep breath. She straightened her shoulders. She lifted her chin. The sadness in her body disappeared. It was replaced by something else, something harder, something stronger. One more year, she said. I can do this. I've done harder things. Then she turned around. And she looked directly at For one frozen moment, their eyes met. The human and the predator, face to face. This camouflage was perfect. There was no way she could see it, no way she could know it was there. But she was looking right at it. Her eyes were dark, almost black in the dim light, and there was something in those eyes that they recognized, something it had seen before, but only in mirrors, only in its own reflection. The eyes of a hunter. They felt something it had not felt in 200 years, fear. It was small at first, just a tiny cold feeling in its chest, but it grew quickly, spreading through its body like poison, making its legs weak, making its heart beat faster, making it want to run. The human did not move. She just stood there looking up at the ceiling, looking at the place where there was hidden. Her face showed no fear, no surprise, just calm awareness, like she had known that was there the whole time, like she had been waiting for this moment. Then she smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something you did not. The smile of someone who was not afraid because they had no reason to be afraid. The smile of a predator. This memory exploded with information. Everything it knew about humans came flooding back. Not the simple facts, not the physical descriptions, the deeper knowledge, the ancient warnings passed down through generations of hunters. Humans were persistent hunters. On their home world, they did not catch prey with speed or strength. They did not have claws or fangs. They could not fly or swim fast, but they had something more terrifying: endurance. Humans chased their prey, not for minutes, not for hours, for days. They followed animals across vast distances, never stopping, never resting until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. Then they killed it, not with weapons, with patience, with determination, with the simple refusal to give up. The animals on Earth did not run from humans because humans were fast. They ran because humans never stopped coming. No matter how far they ran, no matter how long they ran, the human would always be behind them, walking, always walking, never stopping. They remembered other things too. Humans healed from injuries that would kill most species. They could survive extreme heat and extreme cold. They could go days without water, weeks without food. They ate almost anything. Plants, meat, insects, fungus. If it had calories, humans could eat it. They were not prey. They were disguised predators, apex hunters wearing the skin of weak creatures, and the galaxy had not figured this out yet because humans were still rare in space, still new to the stars. But the remembered. Its ancestors had encountered humans before, a long time ago, before they was born. The stories were passed down as warnings, as lessons, as rules that must never be broken. Never hunt a human. Never hurt a human. Never let a human know you exist. Because if you do, they will come for you. Not today, not tomorrow, maybe not even this year, but they will come. They will track you across the galaxy. They will follow you to places no one has ever been. They will find you no matter where you hide, and they will kill you. Not for revenge, not for anger, but because that is what humans do. They hunt whatever hunts them. They are mirrors. They reflect back whatever you show them. Show them kindness and they will be kind. Show them violence and they will be violent. Show them that you are a predator, and they will become the predator. They looked at the human female. She was still smiling, still looking up at the ceiling, still waiting. They understood now. It understood the confidence, the calmness, the lack of fear, was not ignorant of the danger around her. She was aware of it. She had probably known that was following her for days, and she had not run. She had not hidden. She had not asked for help. She had waited. Because running was not what humans did. Humans waited for their prey to make a mistake. Then they struck. They had made a mistake. It had followed the wrong target. It had chosen to hunt the one species in the galaxy that hunted back. And now it was trapped. Not physically. It could still run. It could still escape. But it knew with terrible certainty that if it attacked this human, she would survive. And then she would come for it, her and others like her. They would hunt thee until the end of its life. That was not a fight that could win. Smile widened slightly. Then she turned back to the window. She looked at the stars again, giving them a chance to leave. A chance to pretend this had never happened. They took that chance. It retreated into the shadows, moving faster than it had moved in decades. Away from the human. Away from those terrible, patient predator eyes. It would not hunt on this station again. Not while the human was here. They ran. It had not run from anything in 150 years. Not since it was young and stupid and had tried to hunt something too big for it. But now it ran. Through the dark spaces between walls. Through the maintenance tunnels that no one used. Through the forgotten parts of the station where only machines lived. It ran until it reached its nest. The nest was hidden deep in the station's core, a small space between two generators, warm and dark and safe. They had lived here for 30 years. No one had ever found it. No one had ever come close. They collapsed into its nest and tried to calm its breathing. Its hearts were beating too fast, all four of them, pumping blood through its body like it was still running, still fleeing. From a human, a small, soft, weak human. They had never felt so ashamed. But the shame was nothing compared to the fear. Even now, safe in its nest, the fear remained. A cold feeling in its stomach that would not go away. Every shadow looked like a human. Every sound could be footsteps following it. This is what prey feels, they realized. This constant watching. This endless worry. This knowledge that something out there wants to kill you and there is nothing you can do to stop it. They had made thousands of creatures feel this way. Now it understood why they ran, why they hid, why some of them simply gave up and died from the stress alone. Fear was exhausting. Hours passed. They did not sleep. It could not sleep. Every time it closed its eyes, it saw the human's face. That smile, those dark, patient eyes, waiting, always waiting. Eventually, they forced itself to think clearly, to analyze what had happened, to make a plan. The human had seen it, maybe, probably, though was not sure if she had actually seen it or just sensed its presence. Either way, she knew something was there, something watching her. But she had not attacked. She had not called for help. She had simply smiled and given them a chance to leave. Why? The thought about this for a long time. Why would a predator let its prey escape? Unless she did not see thee as prey, unless she saw it as something else. A threat, yes, but not a target, not something to hunt. Unless she was showing mercy. The concept was difficult for them to understand. Mercy was weakness. Letting an enemy live meant they could come back and hurt you later. It made no sense from a survival perspective. But humans did not think only about survival. They had watched help strangers. It had heard her talk about missing her home. It had seen her cry at the beauty of stars. Humans had feelings that went beyond simple survival. They did things for reasons that had nothing to do with staying alive. Maybe mercy was one of those things. Or maybe it was something else entirely. Maybe the human knew that killing, though, was not necessary. Maybe she knew that the fear would be enough, that they would never hunt her or anyone near her again. If that was true, then the human was not just a predator. She was a smart predator, one who understood that sometimes fear was more useful than death. They felt a strange new emotion, respect. It hated that emotion, but it could not make it go away. Days passed. They stayed in its nest. It did not hunt. It was too afraid to leave its hiding place. What if the human was out there? What if she was waiting for it? What if she had told other humans about it? The hunger grew worse. They needed to eat. It could survive for weeks without food, but eventually it would become weak. Too weak to run, too weak to defend itself, too weak to survive. Finally, after 10 days, it forced itself to leave the nest. It moved through the station like a shadow, more careful than it had ever been, checking every corner, watching every ceiling, looking for any sign of humans. It found one almost immediately. Not a different human, a male, tall and thin with short black hair. He was walking through a market area looking at tools. He seemed relaxed, happy even, humming a little song to himself. They watched him from above. The old hunger returned. The male looked easy. Easier than maybe this one was different. Maybe this one was actually weak. They began to move closer, slowly, carefully, its instincts screaming at it to hunt, to kill, to eat. But then the male did something strange. He stopped walking. He tilted his head like he was listening to something. Then he looked up. Not directly, but at the ceiling, at the shadows, at the places where a predator might hide. And he smiled. The same smile had given. The smile of someone who was not afraid. The smile of someone who knew something you did not. They froze. The male went back to looking at tools. He picked one up, examined it, put it down, casual, normal, like nothing had happened. But they understood the message. It was not just, it was all of them. Every human on this station knew, maybe not about the specifically, but they knew that something was watching, something was hunting, and they were not afraid. Because they were the same. The thought about all the humans it had seen on the station. There were not many, maybe 20 or 30, a tiny number compared to the thousands of other species. But those 20 or 30 humans walked the station like they owned it. They smiled at strangers. They helped people. They laughed and talked and lived their lives without fear. And now they understood why. It was not ignorance. It was not stupidity. It was confidence. The deep, ancient confidence of a species that had spent millions of years as the top predator on their planet. A species that had hunted everything. A species that had conquered their entire world and then looked up at the stars and said, "Now we will hunt there too." They were small and soft and weak, but that was just what they looked like. Inside, they were monsters. Beautiful, terrible monsters that had evolved to never give up, to never stop, to keep walking and walking and walking until everything in their way was dead. They retreated back to its nest. It understood now. This station was no longer its hunting ground. It belonged to the humans. Whether they knew it or not, they had claimed it simply by being here, by walking through the halls with those confident smiles, by looking up at shadows and not being afraid. They needed to leave, find another station, another planet, somewhere without humans, somewhere it could be the predator again. But even as it made this decision, they knew the truth. The humans were spreading. Every year there were more of them in space, more of them on stations, more of them on alien worlds. Slowly, patiently, they were conquering the galaxy, not with weapons, not with wars, just by walking forward and never stopping. One day, there would be nowhere left to hide. One day, the entire galaxy would belong to the humans. And predators like them would be nothing but prey. Woke up to the sound of her alarm. She groaned and reached for her communicator. The screen was too bright. She turned it off and lay in bed for a few more minutes, staring at the ceiling. Another day on the station. She got up slowly, took a shower, got dressed, made herself a cup of coffee from Earth. It was expensive to import, but it was worth it. The taste reminded her of home. She checked her messages while she ate breakfast. Nothing important. A note from her mother asking how she was doing. A funny picture from her brother. A work email about a meeting later today. Normal things, ordinary things. Smiled, she liked ordinary. After everything she had been through to get here, ordinary felt like a gift. She left her room and walked to work. The station was busy today. Lots of people in the hallways. Different species going different places, living their different lives. She nodded to a few familiar faces, smiled at some children, helped an old carry his bags. She did not notice that more people than usual were looking at her. She did not notice the whispers that followed her. She did not notice the way other species moved aside to let her pass. But they noticed her. They had all heard the rumors now, the stories that had spread through the station like fire. The shadow that hunted the halls was gone. The thing that had taken people in the night was no longer here, and it had left because of the humans, because one of them had looked up into the darkness and smiled. No one knew exactly what had happened. No one had seen the confrontation, but everyone had seen the results. For the first time in 30 years, people felt safe walking alone. For the first time in 30 years, no one disappeared without explanation. The humans had done that. Just by being here. Arrived at work and sat at her desk, was already there, typing at his computer. He looked up when she came in. "Morning," he said. "You look tired." "Didn't sleep well," she replied. "Bad dreams." "About what?" Thought for a moment. She had dreamed about something watching her, something dark and hungry. But when she had turned to face it, it had run away. Strange dream. She did not know what it meant. "I don't remember," she lied. "Just one of those nights." Nodded. "I get those too. Must be something about living in space. Too many stars makes the brain do weird things." Laughed. "That's not how brains work." "How would you know? Are you a brain scientist?" "No, but I know that looking at stars doesn't cause bad dreams." "Prove it." They argued playfully for a few minutes. Then the work day began and they focused on their jobs, translating documents, attending meetings, answering emails, the normal rhythm of office life. During lunch, something unusual happened. They went to the food area as always, but when they sat down, a stranger approached their table. It was the same species that had considered hunting that first day. 4 arms, tall, gentle face. They bowed deeply too. "Thank you," it said. Its voice was like rocks grinding together, deep and rough. Looked confused. For what? For making the station safe, for driving away the shadow. "I don't understand. What shadow?" They looked at her for a long moment. Then it smiled, a strange expression on its rocky face. "You do not need to pretend," it said. "We know what you did. All of us know. The humans have protected us and we will not forget." Before could respond, the walked away. She turned to, what was that about? Shrugged, but there was a strange look in his eyes. People have been saying things, that the creature I told you about, the one that hunts people, is gone, and that it left because of us, because of humans. But I didn't do anything. Maybe you did something without knowing it. Frowned, she thought about her life on the station, her routine, her walks to work, her late nights at the observation deck. Had she done something? Had she seen something? She remembered looking up at the ceiling sometimes, feeling like something was watching her, but she had never seen anything. That's crazy, she said finally. I'm just a translator. I sit at a desk all day. I'm not some kind of hero. Maybe that's not for you to decide. Did not know what to say to that. After lunch, she went back to work, but the conversation stayed in her mind. She thought about what they had said, about making the station safe, about driving away shadows. It did not make sense. Or maybe it did. Remembered something her grandmother had told her when she was young, back on Earth, before left for the stars. Her grandmother was very old then, old enough to remember stories from her own grandmother. Stories about the ancient days, about how humans had survived when everything else had died. We were never the strongest, her grandmother had said. We were never the fastest, but we were the ones who never gave up. We walked and walked until our prey fell down. We chased our fears until they became afraid of us. That is the human way. We do not run. We do not hide. We just keep going. Had not thought about that story in years, but now it came back to her, clear and sharp. Maybe that was what had happened. Maybe some creature had looked at her and seen what her grandmother had described. Not a translator, not a small woman far from home, but something older, something deeper. The spirit of a species that had conquered an entire planet just by refusing to stop. Maybe the monster had looked at her and seen a bigger monster looking back. The thought made her smile. She went back to work, translated more documents, attended another meeting, answered more emails, normal things, ordinary things. But something had changed. She walked a little taller now. Her smile was a little wider. She was still the same, still missing home, still counting the days until she could see the ocean again. But she understood something new about herself, about her species, about what it meant to be human. They were small and soft and they cried at beautiful stars, but they were also hunters, predators, monsters in disguise. And the universe was slowly learning to be afraid. That night went back to the observation deck. She looked out at the stars, billions of them, each one a sun, each sun with planets, each planet with life. So much out there to explore, so much to see, so much to walk toward. She did not look up at the ceiling. She did not check the shadows. She did not worry about what might be watching her. Because whatever was out there, whatever hunted in the darkness between stars, it had already learned the truth. Humans never stop. And some monsters are not worth hunting. Smiled at the stars. Then she went home and slept better than she had in months.